Wait, are we doing the movie first, or are we doing?
Yes. Please keep that in the recording.
Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right, and to avoid lazy negativity, we are making this a drinking game, people. That's right. Anytime we say anything negative or stupid about this here film, we pull a Gabriel, take over you, cut out all your crap, and then
we play that sound, and you have to drink.
Dave?
So, Jeff, pour yourself a glass and...
Already done.
Drink it through the back of your head.
Yeah, whoops. What are we doing this week, people? We're doing Malignant, which just came out in theaters and on HBOMax. So as long as you are paying your subscription fees, you can be watching this from the comfort of your...
still friends with the person you stole it from.
That's correct,
Not
John.
that we
Thank you
condone
so much.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know if you would watch this from the comfort of your own home, since this is a James Wan horror film, but you can watch it in the convenience of your own home, or you can be like John, who, despite being in Los Angeles and told us last week he couldn't see any movies in the theaters because of the Delta variant, this week said, even though he has the choice, he is choosing the theater because that is what they make you do in film school. Isn't that right, John?
That's right. Luckily, I am an AMC A-list member, so I was literally like looking at the app all day and trying to find the theaters that didn't have too many people. So again, I went for a regular digital screening just to avoid the masses, but it was fun, you guys. I'll tell you about it. We had some classic horror fans cackling throughout the...
Did you pull my trick and go early in the morning, or...?
No, actually, this one we went like a normal time of evening, which, had some shitty people on their phones, but definitely a lot of people having fun, too. It was a good time.
I feel like this is shitty people on their phones fodder, this movie.
Yeah. Really good HVAC at those AMCs, though, if you want your air purity up.
I don't know what they got on the walls, but...
All right.
Oh, man.
All right, John.
Whatever it was, it just left.
Yeah, right. John, let's shout our people out so we can get into this episode.
All right, we have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. If you want to give him a follow on Instagram, the handle is CBarroso Bar 2019. That is CBARROZOBAR 2019. And if you're digging the music at the beginning and end of every single episode, it's provided by the artist Dasein. And you can head on over to soundcloud.com/Dasein-artist, and you can download all the music for free. So please hit it up. And as always, love us, like us, share us, review us, do all the things. We are at the Love of Cinema Pod, except for Twitter. We are just at the Love of Cinema there. But please come at us. We'll hit you back. Guys, fucking Malignant.
Fucking Malignant. Very excited to talk about this.
Let's get into it.
First, I just want to give a really big shout out to a friend of our podcast who's been mentioned before, Mr. Casey Barrett, who just got married this week to Sarah France. So let's give them a shout out. I got to go to that wedding last week, so shout out to you two kids. Hope you
go
guys
ahead and
are
buzz
able
me,
to
Dave,
celebrate.
because I wasn't able to make it. But buzz/cheers/so happy for them. Fuck yeah.
John was supposed to be the officiant, so way to come through, John.
Was,
I mean, I don't know what happened. I've met Casey twice. I wasn't invited.
Damn it.
That's what. We'll go buzz Casey for that.
Yeah, that's right, Casey.
I've met you twice.
Right.
Damn it.
Well, no other news. Let's get into this week's episode, which is Malignant. I kind of wasn't planning for this movie, and then last week you guys are like, we got to do Malignant next week. We are only doing one movie this week. For those of you who've been following us, we usually do a midweek a second episode. Sometimes it's a new film, sometimes it's part of one of our other recurring series. It's a part of one of our other recurring series, which would be Should Have Seen That By Now, where one of us hasn't seen a movie, oftentimes suggested by you, our listener. Or Was It Really That Bad, where we take a supposedly bad movie and we put our trying to keep a positive spin to the test. We try, sometimes we fail, sometimes we succeed. But this week, because we're only doing one feature, we are doing a special Get to Know You segment where after this episode, when we're feeling a little loose, we're going to do a little Q&A co-hosted by Dave. It's going to be on Facebook. It'll probably be on YouTube. We're actually doing this live on Clubhouse, although if you're listening to this, you're probably listening in the future. But if you want to get to know us a little bit after we record this episode, you can go ahead and find all those socials that John just let you in on, and hopefully we can see you in the future. So there you go. Let's do it. Malignant, HBO Max, James Wan directed, produced, co-writer. I just looked up a couple members of the team, cinematographer, composer. A lot of these people have worked for James Wan, so it is sort of his team of people. Cast includes Annabelle Wallis, who you may know from a whole bunch of things, including The Mummy, and both Annabelle. She played Mia. She was also in X-Men First Class and Star Trek. The newest Star Trek.
Peaky Blinders, I think.
Peaky Blinders, yeah, exactly. Michelle Brianna White, Joseph... yeah. Anyway, a lot of people that you would recognize, a bunch of whom had worked for James Wan before. And it is a horror film, of course, so I'll go ahead and give you the brief IMDb synopsis before we go around with our first takes. So the brief storyline synopsis is Madison, played by Annabelle Wallis. Madison is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are, in fact, terrifying realities. With that being said, who would like to go first? With a couple shit.
We just started.
I know. With your initial reactions. Take it away.
Dave, don't be shy.
All right, I'll go first. I'll tell you, it's James Wan coming back to horror after Aquaman, which some people said was scary, but I didn't see it. I loved it. And I was like, yeah, he's coming back. He's going to do what he's good at. And I wanted it to be good. And it kind of is. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's a story. They set up like in all the...
It's a story?
Yeah, in everything they do, they're okay.
I know.
There's like four writers credited. He's like, well, there's a story there.
Yeah,
there's gotta be a story there with that many writers.
Good work, guys. You're great little Troyers. I did really enjoy. Like, I enjoyed the film. So, like, it's not. This thing doesn't suck at all. I just.
Dave, I want my buzzer back.
I got the feeling he was playing it safe sometimes.
Why? I think I know what you mean, but flesh that out for me.
Just with, like, the kills were. Like, there was some gratuitous stuff, but it was almost like the gratuitous stuff you're used to seeing from him. He didn't really push many new boundaries except for, like, the killer itself. And we'll get to that later once we fire off the spoilers. But I just felt like it was a nice, safe little project. So, I mean, that's cool. If you want to sit back and just make a film that you want to make, it's great. You did exactly what you wanted to. And don't get me wrong, there is some cool stuff in this, but they set it up as a little bit of a mystery as well. And 45 minutes in, I'd picked what was happening, and then 5 minutes later, my wife told me how it was happening, and we were both spot on right. So it was just, I don't know. I don't know whether we just picked it or it appealed to us, or whether it was just, not the mystery they thought it was.
All right.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, and then some. I ultimately know what you mean. I ultimately walked out thinking like, yeah, I guess that was fun. There were definitely some people, some obvious horror fans who were having a blast in my screening, like laughing at all the stuff. Especially we'll give more spoilers later in the episode, but about halfway through this movie, you kind of start to realize what it actually is, and it changes a little bit. The tone changes a little bit, and I think it starts presenting itself a little bit differently, giving a nod to the kind of absurdity of what the actual plot is about once that mystery reveals itself. But because of that, I think I've been really excited to talk to you guys about it, because I didn't have a strong reaction to this movie, which makes me think I know what you mean about kind of playing it safe. I kind of feel like he was trying to play with form and some either kind of blending the sincere kind of grounded horror movie that he's done before in the past, even though they have slasher elements. I think his earlier stuff, the first Saw, Insidious, Conjuring, they are a little bit more sincerely scary. They're not slasher, laugh out loud horror movies. But then towards the end of this movie, it did kind of, then towards the end of this movie, it did start to turn into something that I kind of felt like, are we supposed to laugh at this? Is ridiculous. I don't even feel like it's taking itself seriously anymore. I think of course, I think you're supposed to feel that way. But instead of feeling like, oh, wow, he blended these two things really well, I also felt like I think it kind of ended up being like a safe version of both of those things. And I wish it would have just been one or the other. And I wish he would have gone balls to the wall with it. I still found things that I enjoyed about it. It was nice that it made that turn, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I mean, we said when we did The Conjuring, we all had a nice rewatch, and we kind of enjoyed rewatching some of those, and that we were recommending to some people, give it a shot. If you haven't, if maybe you're not super into horror movies, these are some good ones to start with. They're sincerely scary, but they're not going to ruin your life, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would recommend this movie to people who don't love horror movies. And I'm not saying because it's scary. I think you need to be that kind of person who just loves laughing along with the ridiculousness of horror movies to really dig this one. It never really scared me. Wait, and I thought it was overproduced.
You're saying you would recommend it to people who didn't love horror movies, or you would not?
No, I would not. I don't think there was enough compelling. I don't think there was enough. Because of that, not really choosing one way or the other. It felt kind of like it was a safe blend of two different styles of movies. It just didn't work for me.
I like this movie a lot better than both of you, and I completely disagree with that on the forum. I think comedies have to be funny and horror movies have to be scary, and I think I had genuine shivers and chills, especially early on, where it was, more of a proper horror film. It starts with a cold open with the doctor in a crazy hospital that goes wrong within a minute, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's just get right into some context. It tells you the year. It opens with a specific hospital that's like on the coast in 1993.
We're gonna talk about that scene in a minute.
Institution. So you know that it's going to be a flashback and it's going to jump to the future. So I love that they dove into that quickly. And then when we're in the creepy house, all of these things are just so obviously just like kind of cheap little things that they pull from other horror movies. But then the actual like spooky, is it a monster? Is it a person? Like what's going on that's kind of haunting this house it was genuinely scary. And yes, you mentioned like halfway through you started to figure it out. But if you go 40 minutes with genuine chills, I think a lot of casual horror fans that just kind of like want to be scared, and they're going to be wondering whether or not they should hide their face. And I think that'll carry them through the movie. And I don't think they care about the genre switching. I think by the time it turns into a funny slasher movie, which it has some slasher elements early on, I think by the time we get to that police scene, which was beautifully shot, even if it was a little cheap perhaps, but I mean, it's just not something you see every day.
Okay,
I think that people would really enjoy that. I enjoyed it, and I know that it was kind of cheap.
Those two things that you said, when I figured it out, I didn't actually suffer for it. I was just like, I think I figured out what's going on. And like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That might have actually been intentional, because just as you figure out what's going on, within 5 minutes, they put her in a cell with a heap of other people, and you're like, oh, fuck, and you're just waiting for it. It's like, no one's walking out of this cell alive. Like,
Well, we're inching towards spoilers, so if anybody hasn't seen this yet, I think you should see it. It's on HBOMax. If you want to be scared, and then, let's see if it carries you all the way through. But that's what I think. And now let's head into our spoiler section. All right. I agree. John, what do you think about that? I came after your premise. I just fucking came at it.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I did think the first sequence in the home, when her husband is being attacked, and then the second one when she thinks she's seeing the monster as well. But that's it. If I'm being honest, I thought those were the only like really compelling, scary moments in the movie. I thought the rest.
He was reaching for the beer before I even hit the buzzer.
I thought the rest was I don't know. I just remember having a very specific reaction. Spoilers here, folks. When they reveal that this is it a monster? Is it not? Is she witnessing these murders through some kind of waking dream that she can just see this random haunting, this monster person killing all these people who she thinks she doesn't know? Turns out that she does know them. She was in this hospital when she was younger. She doesn't remember. And the killer is the parasitic twin that is sharing a brain with her, that they somehow cut as much as they could out of and then shove the rest back inside her skull. That's actually what the premise of this movie is.
It's not the greatest
compressed
premise,
Voldemort from Harry Potter.
Yeah, honestly, it was like Voldemort. Yeah. I just remember feeling when they made the turn and they reveal that it's her fucking weird ass cancerous malignant twin that was like half growing on her. It was funny. I just remember thinking, I just feel like I just wish it was this the whole time. I wish it wasn't trying to kind of be something else. and then try to like kind of make the turn. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the idea of it, and I guess it worked for you guys. It just didn't. That turn didn't work for me. I remember just feeling a little cheated. I was like, is that why you weren't going full sincere horror? Because there were only like moments where I felt like you kind of were.
Oh, there were things,
I don't know. It just felt vague.
There were things there, like when they do the reveal in the jail cell. And I don't know. For me, it just looked like that didn't hurt as much as it should have.
Yeah, obviously, you have to be a little forgiving. Well, in order to like this movie, you have to be forgiving.
And I feel like at that point, I feel like at that point he could have gone full balls to the wall. She's in pain. This hurts because she's.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, dude. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like all these opportunities. A big surprise. I know I always fucking say this, but I think even if he wanted to make it kind of funny and absurd, I think all of that stuff would have been way more disturbing and like kind of ew, but you're still laughing if it was grounded in more sincerity and realism. Yeah, that's like, a perfect example. For instance, how did she not scream when her skull opened up?
The needle pit in Saw 2, when they throw her in the needle pit and she's crawling through it and she's just screaming, and I just pissed my pants just talking about it just now. So like, that hurt. You could see the pain, and like this one, it was more of a, all right, there's about to be carnage.
Yeah, and you're about to, and you can laugh at it, and I don't get me wrong, I can appreciate when you have some good permission to laugh at a fun horror movie. Like everyone loves to, there's a giddy atmosphere when you're watching these things, regardless if it's sincere and grounded or fun slashery stuff. But this one, I feel like it just went too safe, and then I appreciate him trying to take a fresh take, but he went full on superhero. That fight scene was cool on its own, out of context. Okay, seriously, but it was like, what the fuck? Is she a superhero?
Is Gabriel Batman?
Yeah, honestly, that was ridiculous. That's so
the actual
weird.
note I wrote.
With joints,
I didn't
went
mind
the other
it
way.
as much. There is a really cool chase scene in this movie where the cop starts chasing when you're not quite sure it's still her. You think it's a monster. And that was like as far as I was willing to go with suspending belief on, is this thing real or not? Because I thought that was a good way of trying to start to reveal that it is an actual person, but it's a person that is somehow affected so physically that it has a little stronger, it can climb, it can move in strange ways. They were starting to justify those things through that chase scene. But then this fight scene comes when she realizes it's her, and this thing comes out of the back of her head and she turns into full on, I am controlled by this parasitic twin, and she turns into a unusually strong, fast-moving, flying, flipping superhero that takes out like 30 cops by herself with her bare hands, punching through sternums, ripping out spinal cords. I was like, where the fuck did this come from?
I was willing to go with, but it's like, this thing lives inside her and couldn't walk beforehand, and it kind of mastered the body really. It mastered the body
real fast. Well, I think. What do you think? Because they make it clear that it's demonic, it's demonic possession kind of thing. Right. So they specifically use the word devil. So that to me is the vague part that I would love. I was very willing to forgive the lack of specificity, and keeping it as just sort of like fun genre fare that they didn't dive into. Because I was getting The Outsider vibes, right? Is this a human? It seems to get more and more human as it goes along. Although I thought The Outsider didn't stick the landing on HBO last year with all the Ben Mendelsohn's awesome. But
he is awesome.
But with this, I thought maybe even they knew that if they were like, well, it's the devil, then maybe it would have been cheap. But that really is the only explanation for how they would be able to pull off the joints going the other way, a la that Charlie Sheen movie from the 90s. And was it Arrival? I forget that.
The Arrival.
The Arrival. Yeah, the joints go the other way, and then it's almost like the demon monster thing could see when shots were being fired, because she's not just killing people, she's also dodging gunfighting from cops, like bullets. Yeah. So I thought it was just the devil, and again, I was just kind of like, well, fuck it, this is stupid, but like, let's see how it goes. But you're right. I mean, it's almost like they knew that they couldn't pull that off, so they left it vague on purpose.
Again, okay, right. So I was going to ask you if you felt like it was. So you kind of felt. Did you guys kind of think it was still supposed to possibly be demonic? It's not just the physical fact of sharing the brain.
Not at all. Demonic went out the window for me.
Really?
Yeah, me too. I
Yeah.
thought it
That's
was.
the only
I thought there was-
explanation. That's why I hung on to it. 'Cause
But
it was
then-
the only
Yeah, that's why
explanation.
it was so stupid. That's why it was so
And they kept
ridiculous.
saying
she can
devil.
lift the stuff. It's like it's
Yeah,
not-
exactly.
yeah.
When she was like, "I can lift
That
it
was-
too."
It was weird.
That's
It
where
was-
it's hilarious at the end, where she's like, "Well, Gabriel is me, so if he can lift a 5,000-pound incubator, then I can too." And it's like, I don't know if he really.
And again, I thought that the tone of that last scene was on the money for me. I was like, God, I wish the whole movie was like this. I was laughing. It was ridiculous. There was insane, absurd melodrama. And then it pans away at the end after she saved her sister and given just the most melodramatic monologue straight into camera about how I've always wanted a blood relative, but you'll always be my sister.
Yeah.
And the camera pulls back on this white shot, and the mom is in the bed just giving this like creepy grin, like a real toothy grin in the hospital bed.
Yeah,
after
why was the mom so
waking up from a
sincere at the end
from
of
a
this
coma.
movie? She was so touched, and we're like, "Who is this?"
But I thought, like, if that was what I didn't mind that tone a lot. I liked it. I just remember thinking, if this movie had lived in this place, I think I would have loved it. It would have had like an Evil Dead quality. Like, okay, we're allowed to just think this is stupid and fun. But I don't think he wanted us to feel that way until the latter part of the movie. And then it was kind of too late for me. I thought he was trying to actually scare me.
I want to just touch on the cinematography briefly because
Please,
like, oh my god,
I think.
that like they shot this on Arri, obviously with a whole range of different lenses, but Michael Burgess can light the shit out of a night scene. Is it just me? Like that opening
I liked
shot
his
with the
night
house.
scenes the best,
oh yeah,
for sure.
Anytime it was dark, and also just some of the little visual effects stuff. Like there's some seriously good homages in this as well. But like the little visual effects things, like where you see like the lights flash and you see someone sitting on the couch and it goes away, and he flicks the light on. There's nothing there, but then the couch depression disappears slowly. And it's like someone was in that thing and now they're not. And like that was some good actual like creepy horror shit. I really loved the melting scenery when they did the transition for where she thought she was and then where she actually was. Some of those were really unexpected and good. And like do you notice the slight wobble that the scenery got when she gets pulled out of it in a hurry? Like there's just this little wobble later in post.
Moving.
Yeah.
The melting. I liked the first thing you said. The less is more for me always. But again, in my mindset, I thought they were trying to sincerely scare me. The depression, those two scenes you're talking about, where you see the thing in the house, that was really scary.
Yeah.
When she's alone and she's looking down into the foggy street lamp, and you kind of see it.
Yep.
So the less is more for me. I did not care for the way they were doing the transitions. Now, again, if I had known that this was supposed to be a movie we're supposed to laugh at, I think I would have been okay with it. But I really wanted them to do way, way, way less if she was supposed to actually... There are very effective cinematic techniques that don't require all that kind of stuff that I think are more effective because they're more off-putting. Whereas this allowed you to see the entire transition, which would have been fine with me if I thought I was supposed to be laughing.
I think the best one was the washing machine.
Yeah, that was
because
fun.
that came out
like
of nowhere. Yeah.
And I liked that was, it was her, it was the woman, it was the actress full on just behind the door. It wasn't just her face, image in the door, right? I was like, okay, this is weird. I thought they were going to stay in that place. And then they melted the whole thing. And I still thought it was supposed to be sincere and it just didn't quite land.
What did you think of the overhead shot where she's running through the house and the camera's drifting from room to room and it went upstairs? And
I thought that was fun.
That was total Enter the Void vibe.
Yeah. I mean, it reminded me of Gaspar Noé. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was pretty cool.
I feel like that was a little homage, and I noticed it and I respected the hell out of it. Like I loved it.
It was the homage, but it was also like they did not abuse it.
No,
it was an informational shot. It was showing us the house, and I felt good about it because they had just done right before that they had done a good enough job of having this thing start to haunt her twice. And now when you get to the end of the movie and you realize what's happened in the attic, it is kind of cool that they give you this overhead view of the entire structure of the home.
They also give away...
And I like that they only did it once.
Yeah, they also give away that it's her attic at one point when they pan across and the dollhouse is in the corner of the shot. Because in the center of...
I thought that was the east... Yeah.
In the center of the house, there's the attic with the light, the window and everything. They're giving things away the whole way through. If you go back and watch it a second time, there's fucking clues everywhere.
That's a lot of good breadcrumbs.
John, that's why I think the casual fan would like it, because they'd be like, "Oh my god," they would freak out about that shit. Whereas Dave's like, "That's the dollhouse." Wait, I want to say to all of our film fans.
I mean, the worst part about that was I was watching this analytically. I think if I just sat back with a beer and enjoyed it, I would have had a lot more fun. I still had fun watching it. I would have had a lot more
me
fun.
too,
I
man.
think
If we watched it together, I would have pushed my scaredness on you, even though I was hyping it up a little bit just to get those shivers. To all of our friends who want to be a cinematographer too, I think Michael Burgess, because he did Conjuring, Devil Made Me Do It, Annabelle Comes Home, but his first feature was in 2018 that he was the lead cinematographer, the director of photography on. Before 2018, he was either a B cam operator or additional photography or second unit on
The Trenches.
Lincoln Lawyers, Lincoln Lawyer, Muppets, the next Muppets movies, Rock of Ages, but also Avengers, 42, Divergent, Mockingjay, Conjuring 2, and then fucking Aquaman, obviously, James Wan, Wonder, Logan. I mean, this person knows what he's doing with the camera. He's really worked. He's really worked hard.
I don't know. The guy might have some skill or a fuck ton of friends. I'm not sure which, but it seems to be skill given the state of the cinematography in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought the score was pretty good too. But yeah, the way it's shot, the way it was produced, I guess, even though the story perhaps suffered a little bit, I think
it's worth the shot. Score was really fun.
It was
again. I just don't think I started having fun with it until the movie turned, because I remember when it started creeping in with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was like, "What are they doing?" Like I was trying to allow myself to be scared, and then that music came in. As soon as it made the turn, I was like, "This is so much fun." The music is right on the money. It's ridiculous and over the top, and kind of, I don't know, it had an 80s kind of vibe a little bit. There's electronica vibe in it. I just don't know if it worked in the first half for me.
What do you think? Because this was also, I should have said this at the beginning, but this was another 2020 release. This was ready to go for August of 2020, I think.
Oh, was it?
And then they shelved it for a year. Actually, this is not a Warner film, right? So I don't know why it must be, right? If it's HBO the same day. I can't fucking, why can't I remember this? I don't remember the Warner logo.
I think this was bought and distributed by them, but it wasn't produced by them.
Yeah, I do too.
So, but it was supposed to come out in 2020, so they had an extra year.
This was Atomic Monster. And
Atomic Monster.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm guessing it's not. I'm guessing it wasn't. They didn't reshoot these kinds of. They knew what the movie they had, but as far as the score, John, I wonder if he had more time to think about it.
I will say one thing though. The thing I love the most about this film is all of the when she's in Gabriel mode, because that's the name of the creature, obviously the twin. When she's in Gabriel mode, none of that is CG.
Yeah,
it was all done practically by a contortionist who was running backwards and running on their hands and legs backwards, and I think it was actually the same woman, the same actress who was in the opening of Devil Made Me Do It. Remember that scene that just fucks you up at the beginning of that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I believe it was the same actress. But
all that,
yeah,
I agree, man. All that really worked for me.
That really worked for
more
me.
than when it went full on CG and she was a superhero. That was weird. But every shot except for there was one in the middle of the fight scene where she's literally just doing like a crab walk, across.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
That was the only one that didn't really work for me. But everything else, when you could tell it was practical, I thought it was super effective. And
I've been
disturbing.
on a shoot with a contortionist, and there is a fine line between what's creepy and what's comical, but it really does depend how you shoot it too. So it might just be an angle.
Look, James Wan is super talented. Obviously, he surrounds himself with other people who are super talented. I'm so glad I saw it, and I think if I had gone back, maybe smoked a little weed and had a couple beers before, and totally went in not trying to have a sincere, Saw, Insidious, scary movie experience, I think I would have had way more fun. So maybe we should tell our friends, go in and just get ready to laugh. And then they might be a little scared in the first couple scenes and be like, but John told us this is going to be ridiculous. And then they'll be excited as they start to laugh at it.
By the way,
I think I just went in with the opposite.
Yeah, we can't tell them now, because if they're still listening, the movie's fucked up for them. So
go see it anyway. Go have fun.
We'll put it in the description.
That's funny. I wish we could open our episode with that audio grab.
There were some good ones though. Let's praise it for a second. What was your funny, was there a moment where you were like, haha, like your favorite, because he was clearly pulling it, his own tropes. I mean, he created some of these with the crib shots and the voice and the phone. He's one of the founders of taking these tropes and solidifying them in all of his movies. Did you have a moment or something in the latter half of this film that really made you laugh out loud, or you were just like,
One thing that made me laugh out loud is that they gave this one cop, and I don't want to say his name because I'm going to say something mean,
Cocoa, right?
They gave the male cop reaction shots to everything, and he didn't react to a single thing. Did you notice that? No, we would see a murder where someone's head was literally ripped off his body, and this cop would walk in and essentially he would basically give one of those, "Oh, you ate chocolate for breakfast" kind of looks to it, like horrible.
His partner calls him, and there's a guy stabbed to shit, and he just walks
The
in.
next one, he does it again, and he does this like breath out where he's like, "Oh," and it's like it's devoid of any emotion. The one time when he finally finds out the girl he's been looking for was just in his office, and he almost responds to it like a question. It's like, "You've been looking for her. She was just here," and he was like, "I wonder why she." It's like, dude, react. Give me a reaction. All right, that's my versal. Dave.
Yeah,
I know. I'm curious, Dave. Did you have a moment?
I mean, there were a couple of moments where I was like, because I was in the, like, again with the audience that you were watching, I was in the, like, when she's in the jail cell and they start to like beat her up. I'm just waiting for it. And when it happened, I laughed the whole way through it with glee, basically, because they deserved everything they got. But there were a couple of other ones, like when the sister goes to the orphanage.
That was what's your favorite part?
Well, she goes to the orphanage and she's ruffling through all his stuff. There's this clank in the background. She looks around and you're like, "Oh fuck, something's coming to get her in the orphanage." Nothing, no payoff, nothing. They just cut straight to like, she's safe, she's fine. I'm like, oh, what a fucking.
There were so many
out.
good ones. That one was there were so many good moments in that. They were so tropey. When first of all, just the reveal of the hospital is ridiculous. She turns the corner.
Oh god,
it's just on the edge of this cliff, and then she pulls up and parks. Apparently, the parking is right on the edge of this fucking cliff.
My wife pissed herself at that. She's like, "Why the fuck is she parking right on the edge of a cliff?" She had the same reaction.
Man, my theater was howling. People were dying laughing. By that point, we were all laughing, and we were having a great time. Shout out to when she kicks out the asses of all the female lawbreakers that are in the cell with her. She basically kills all these women. Shout out to Zoe Bell, famous stunt woman from
Stunts.
From fucking everything. She does the Kill Bill. She's Beatrice's. Yeah, and she's the lead in what was Quentin when he made the Death Proof?
Death Proof.
She's one of the leads in that.
Yes.
Saw her in that. She was good in this she had a good little moment and got her ass kicked as usual. It was fun.
I wrote down, why is every prison the Breakfast Club in a horror movie? Like immediately they just start shitting on each other. And she literally just wants to sit there and be sad. Like give her 5 minutes and all of a sudden everybody's trying to beat her up and stuff. And then it turns into Orange is the New Black / any movie where every single person dies except for one person.
I guess in their defense, because we all said that we wish she would have been in more pain. When this thing literally splits her skull in the back of her head.
Yeah,
and
she goes full Wolverine and just,
I guess they realized we're either going to get a good laugh at this or we're going to scare and make people want to throw up. Zoe and the other cellmates' reaction was pretty funny.
She just took the same acting. What the fuck? She took the same acting classes as a policeman.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, "Ow."
Oh my god.
I have a lot of good ones. I have one where this is very clearly an inhuman or subhuman or extra human being that has gone into her house, and she has this montage where she does some handiwork around the house, and she essentially she puts in one bolt on her door. This is a thing that kicked open her door, and so she gets another bolt, one extra bolt.
On dead bolts, yeah.
And we have this whole montage, and that's the thing. I thought that was hilarious.
The tool chest was so legit.
Again, I was okay with it because I knew that another one was coming and it was going to be scary. So I wasn't sitting there going, "That's dumb," because I was like, well, fuck it. They know we want to be scared, and this thing is going to be able to get in pretty easily. So here it comes. Like
I think one of the first moments where I was like, "Is this supposed to be dumb?" Was when Detective Kokoa, is that his name?
I think so. I think it's Kokoa. Yeah,
Kokoa Shaw. It's a pretty good name.
Sure.
Anyway, he is obviously not alone in this giant open floor style police precinct, the detective desks. It's him and one other guy who is 2 desks away from him. And he lanes up and he says, "Ramos, am I alone in here?" Or he's like, "Ramos, where are you?" He like screams for him. And he's literally he's like less than 10 feet away from him. The only other person in the room. I was like, oh, okay. So you just started to pick up, like, this isn't taking itself seriously. I just kind of wish they would have told me sooner, or told us in the trailer, or told us so we would have been ready. But there were so many good moments like that.
You get to
It was fun. It was funny, and I laughed at the reveal too. I wonder if you guys did at the big reveal when they're like follow her around and show the twin behind her, like this crawling fucking animal thing.
Oh, yeah.
I started laughing my ass off for sure.
Yeah.
I really liked the second half. I thought it was funny and I knew what it was. That's where I'm at.
I feel like once you get like, short rib praying mantis at the back of the fucking head, you're like,
What the fuck, dude? Do you think that they learned about a parasitic twin and they were like, horror movie? James Wan heard about it 2 years ago.
Like he
and
was covering a genre of horror he hadn't really covered before. So it's possible he had this stored away and he's just been stewing on it.
This is his first kind of funny one, right?
He did not.
The jury's still out on whether that was intentional.
I think the composer, as we're discussing, I think the composer deep down knew. I think so. He did not do. James Wan did not direct The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It, although he obviously produced it and was sort of around for it. I'm sure he is doing the next Insidious movie, which is supposedly coming out this year, or he co-directed it.
Insidious
TV show, another Aquaman. But I'm wondering when he gets his next, I guess, original IP. I'm wondering if rather than saying I want to go with a genre and then try to make it work, I wonder if there will be a central conceit, a central point that he will nail.
They kind of left this set up a little bit for a sequel as well.
Well, this guy only. Why wouldn't you? When you make that much money and you can just dominate that way, maybe that is the new filmmaking rather than making
honestly,
one film.
It seriously had the Tenet ending. It had the Tenet ending. Not Tenet. I'm sorry.
Maybe he likes.
Fuck you, Dave.
Maybe he likes community building. Maybe he likes the spread of his people and his web. Maybe.
No way. Honestly, I'm telling you guys. I think he is blending the genres. I think he is trying to create his own superhero. I think she could possibly have more movies where now she apparently has the strength of this Gabriel thing, and she can do all the stuff that he'll be able to do.
Sorry, I didn't.
He was hired to direct Aquaman. He comes from the horror background. Yeah. He left this open for a sequel. What else could a sequel be about other than her kicking ass?
I didn't mean Tenet. I meant Inception, where the top is spinning. This one pans out and the light just starts to flicker, and before
really
they cut away,
I thought the same
the buzz,
thing too.
and it's like, is it or isn't it?
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I can't remember how
the
Tenet
ending
ended
for me too. Yeah, did it end? did it end?
Or did it begin? That's such a douchey time travel joke.
Douchey. Well,
any other standouts? Are we good, you guys? I think we did
we're
justice.
good.
I think people will have fun when they watch this.
I mean,
go in wanting to have some fun.
Do not watch this alone. Invite some friends over if it's cool to do so, and
I think so too.
And sit with your friends and watch this movie. This is one.
Or if you do, just
want a group,
get a little blitzed and laugh. Like you would just try to have fun.
There's
I feel like
in there.
This is one that would have benefited in the theater because, like you said, everyone in your theater had a great time. You had a pretty good time.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
All right, people.
And she was great. She was good.
People, that is our conversation about Malignant.
We just cut out the cancer. We just did our segment.
I was like, that corny line's relevant.
We're going to wrap up here with some recommendations for you people in our What You've Been Watching segment. We've all been busy as fuck, but we only have one episode this week. So did anybody see anything else besides this film this week? Dave, we always start with you. What you been watching?
I went back to Hogwarts this week.
Wait, I did last week. I felt weird about it.
I was going to ask which one of you was using my HBO to watch Harry Potter.
I have my HBO. Like I went back to Hogwarts because they have them back finally, and so I started with 5.
That's reason enough. You're right. Dude. I started with number 5.
Wait, that's a weird one to start with.
No, we're unpacking at the moment, so I wanted to be angry.
Okay.
So
there you go. Yeah, that is where that series makes the turn.
There is nothing that infuriates me more than that woman.
Two things save that movie. I mean, she really is amazing, and she is going to be the next queen. She is going to be Queen Elizabeth in the final season.
I will watch that just because of
she's going to be so amazing. I can't wait.
She was the most hateable character since before Joffrey.
Yeah, but
Dave, what's your favorite Harry Potter movie? Right now, you don't have to. Right now, what's your favorite Harry Potter?
My favorite Harry Potter movie, I think, is 4, Goblet of Fire.
Oh, fun!
Because the Goblet of Fire is the one that the parents are sitting there at the end going, "Fuck me, I thought this was a kids movie."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always 3 or 4
Yeah.
for me. What
Yeah.
about you, John? What's your favorite?
I would probably agree with that. Although I'm a huge fan of Half-Blood Prince. I really love when Dumbledore died. I just love how they handled the end of that movie a lot. I love the tone. David Yates.
I only saw
big
5.
fan.
Dumbledore dies. No,
Yeah,
no.
oh
my God.
John, what you
Anyway.
been watching?
Nothing. I've been busy as fuck. So this is the only thing I watched. I have been rewatching Frasier with my girlfriend, which is
I love
awesome.
Frasier.
God damn it, I love that show so much. It's so funny. I've been really, really happy to be rewatching that. I haven't seen it since I was young. How about you, Jeff?
TikTok must think I'm the oldest person on TikTok because I keep getting Frasier scenes recommended to me on TikTok. And I'm like, this is definitely not what the app was intended for. It was intended for teenagers to be distracted.
You're about entering that age group now.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I was like, Jeff, you're not young, right?
Look, so
That's coming from me.
I actually went to another wedding, not Casey and Sarah's, although I did go to that last week. But this past
What are you, a
weekend, I went to
crasher?
another wedding. And at this wedding was one of Chloe's friends from college who actually got verified on all the stuff this weekend because he's on season 3 of The Circle, which just came out on Netflix. He's one of, so if anybody's watching The Circle, it's Matt or Matthew, who's actually a catfish this season, and the person he's catfishing as was also at the wedding. So I got to see 2 different characters from The Circle this weekend. So it is a reality show. It's one of the only series that Netflix doesn't release all at once. So they only released 4 episodes, and then they're going to release 4 next week, and then 4. It's a reality show. I call it Survivor meets Big Brother because they're essentially doing quote unquote social media, so they could only contact each other with emojis and messages, and they can't actually interact with each other. They're quarantined in their rooms. So I guess that works for COVID. I was hoping that it would be
basically
more of like
Survivor
a
2020.
I'm glad that it's. What I originally thought it was going to be is like who can get the most popular the quickest, which would be like a different social media challenge. But anyway, this is season 3, and it's basically Survivor, and so far he's still doing well on these 4 episodes. So I don't know how far it's going to go after that, but I watched The Circle so that I would have some things to talk about at the wedding, and knowing somebody on the show makes it even better. So I don't know what it would be like if I didn't know anybody on the show. But that's it, people.
Yep.
Thank you so much for this week. Next week, we'll have some new movies for you. Follow us on the socials if you want to know ahead of time what we're going to be watching. And please find us on the socials if you want to see this segment we're about to do, so you can get to know us a little bit better. But just like that, see you guys soon.